shoot, I said that you claim it. It's that Xbox, spin the block, his legs slide. Fast talker, no riddling, moonwalker, selling moon rock just to make dividends. You in traffic with family? That much making a portrait. Gun kick back, not grannies from porches. David on the scene, you know that it's scorching. What's a man with king? No response to the saying, advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game and shoot, what said that you claim?
You already know the time, told my boys to hold the line. We gon' shoot it out in seconds, leave you posted like a vine. Bow your head down to the king, leave your roses at the shrine. We stay ready for the war, just need the king to drop the sign. Say what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? Say what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? This what you wanted. This what you wanted, huh?
Peace and blessings, and welcome back to Xbox Frontline News with your boy, the King. Now, I know you're saying you're King, you're dropping videos off your time. You're not at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Bro, I'm still on Japanese time. My body has not adjusted. I'm still stuck, and it's wild crazy because technically it's really in the morning over there, and it's night over here. My schedule is off. I'm trying to do videos. It's just wild. But if it's your first time finding this channel, please like, follow, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I drop videos daily. I would tell you that it's 8:30 p.m., but that would be a damn lie because this video went up later. And I didn't even premiere my last video. I just threw it out. The same way I'm going to do this video. But we do got some news to talk about. We got some games that's coming back, or the DLC or the sequels to that game. Well, not the sequels, but we have some new partnerships with Microsoft with some exclusive games coming to Xbox, and we could talk about some of that stuff here today. And what is exclusives? What does that matter? But we also have licensee descriptions being explained. How you absolutely own nothing in this digital world, in this digital future, in this digital age. But ditching last gen only bodes well for one of the greatest games that is yet to come. But I know who the true villain is in all these price hikes and this drama that's going on with this current gen consoles. Um, we get a chance to see a lot of nefarious things happening by these big corporations that needs different level of regulatory systems in place. I think that the FTC with Lena Khan let us down when it came to actually putting things in place from larger corporations in the harmful nature in which they deal with the um, American public. Now, I'm not just talking just for America, but I'm talking about if the CMA or whatever regulatory body that is in your country has let you down, well, then we need to find different ways of implementing structures that can stop these corporations from doing the stuff that Microsoft just pulled not so recently, right? With the price hikes of Game Pass. But I think there's more behind those price hikes with Game Pass. And I think I can lead to one culprit when we get to that factor. And it's really two entities that are able to pull these strings in the background. And I want to talk more about it because as I got a chance to look at the video yesterday and do a little bit more research as I'm trying to adjust to this time frame, I realize that there's one true culprit in all of this, and it happens to be somebody that you may not be thinking about when it comes to this. But let's get to these topics. Let's talk about these topics, and let's talk about Xbox seemingly rolling back what we thought was the death knell for Game Pass for some, and for others, a price hike, a bump in the road, if you will. Maybe that stuff can be mitigated or just abolished altogether. And a game that I hope is Play Anywhere. Iron Fury expansion Aftershock for the Xbox One, the Switch, and the PlayStation 4 launches on October 16th. 2 years after its PC release. Bro, this has been a minute, but it's not, it's dropping for the $15. 3D Realms, and developer Void Point has announced that it's coming out. And I waited for this game for a minute. I kept actually, I'm a first person shooter dude. I love all that fun stuff, after defeating Dr. Judas High School. Shelly's celebration is interrupted by explosions, and her nemesis is escaping in a monstrous flying machine. Armed with her signature lover boy revolver and commandeering a heavily weaponized road dripper hover bike, Shelly embarks on her most dangerous mission through a brand new zones filled with enhanced enemies and devastating weapons. Um, you know, the game looks good, man, and it's moving at 60 frames per second. On the Switch is at 720p, in handheld and in dock mode is at 1080p. You know, there's a lot of content in this game. You know, the build engine is excellent. Iron Fury is available now for the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, the Switch, and Steam and GOG. Go check it out. The new one is dropping, so hopefully this is a play anywhere. I love this engine because it's like Duke Nukem and Shadow Warrior. I just like how the engine feels. Me personally, this Hawkins back in the days for me. So if you see anything that you like in this trailer, hopefully that you can go check that out. Me personally, this is a game that I'm looking forward to, and I hope you are looking forward to it as well. October 21st is fastly approaching. And if you know, like I know, that day is earmarked on your calendar because you want to get your hands and your grubby little fingers on Ninja Gaiden 4. So the preload is up right now, and it's not as large as many would have thought. Pause. It's pretty much, relatively small loading preload files, maybe for larger loadings at the back end of it. But right now it's only 36.82 gigs on the Xbox and 54.9 on the PC Microsoft Store. So if you're anticipating this, if you're a Game Pass subscriber, uh, there you go. If you are just happening, you already pre-ordered the game, well, your preload is ready. So make sure you got yourself all locked in. So on October 21st, you're able to just hit the ground running playing the game. If you like Zombies Ate My Neighbor, Ghetto Zombies Graffiti Squad will be the first Xbox exclusive title published by Nantius Games. Now, listen, I love Zombies Ate My Neighbors. I purchased it on Genesis, I purchased it on Super Nintendo. And if this is the spiritual successor to that game, well, God, I'm for all of this action. A top-down, wild shooting, urban street style game is overrun with zombies and graffiti art. The players control a crew of graffiti artists fighting off zombie hordes while spreading their art across the city. Each stage challenges players to survive, paint, and reclaim neighborhoods using crazy weapons, power ups, and lots of creativity. The game also supports local co op play. So you could just, chill with your peoples, have a great time playing these pixel art games, which I find super endearing and I think we need more of. The hood is the protagonist. Uh, Xbox exclusivity and the support is on deck. On the Xbox partnership, Fabio explained, Xbox was one of our main investors in making this project possible. With ID at Xbox Fund, we were able to develop the game for almost an entire year, in addition to all the support they gave us, inviting us to events, providing training. We wanted to dedicate the console launch to them as a way of giving back for all the partnerships. So Microsoft definitely found um, a friend, a business partner in non-TS games. It, listen, Ghetto Zombies. I didn't know I needed it, but now I want it. Uh, Zombie Ate My Neighbor's inspired game. I'm all for it. As you may know, a ton of people are getting their Xbox Rocks allies early. And one person in particular has gotten his and has taken it to the web because I think they made a mistake in France. So he tested 7 games on Xbox Rock Ally X, and 45 minutes. It says It's pretty impressive from what he got a chance to use on the device. The video is, from YouTuber Dance Tas Grace Poche. I do not speak French, so I probably butchered the hell out of his name. And he received his Xbox ROG Ally early. People are saying that it's an error. I think it's just more or less building anticipation, be honest with you. But the games that he got a chance to play on his device, and he says was running pretty good, was Expedition 33, Street Fighter 6, Gears of War Reloaded, Elden Ring Night Rain, Monster Hunter's Wild, and Hollow Knight Silk Song. A couple of games that are apparently innate to his gaming sensibilities. And he gave a detailed breakdown of each game and how it runs, but rather to showcase the general overview of the experience and playing the game so far. They don't make any tweaks and twerks to things like graphics and resolution and upscaling, so the figures that they see aren't necessarily representative of the kind of experience you're getting with these titles on your personal system. Everybody's going to be able to customize their system to how they want it. But what he's saying is, he says there are games for which the Xbox ROG Ally X performs magnificently, and as soon as you adjust the settings a little bit, you're going to have something that's going to be super super nice. So again, I can't wait to get my Xbox ROG Ally X so I can do all that stuff. But this is a wonderful thing that people are having a great experience with it. I'm happy that he got a chance to get his and post all his information based on it. I'm just can't wait till the 16th. The countdown has begun. Do y'all guys remember that game that was from Black Tusk? And I always wondered what happened to it. So I ran across this article that popped up, and this is from Pure Xbox. Ben Carey tracked this down, and they're talking about more than a decade now. The coalition was known as the Black Tusk Studios, and they were developing an original IP for Microsoft. And if you remember, the game looked dope. It was a guy coming down like the building, rappelling down the building, and he kicks into a window and he pulls out a gun. And I don't know, the setup trailer looked nice. Well, that title just never made it to fruition, and Microsoft switched them off to making Gears of War 4 instead. It's crazy. I think that thing was supposed to be like a Kinect game or something like that. I don't know. But it was supposed to go up against PlayStation's Uncharted. And it's supposed to be a rival to that. And again, we never got it. Always wonder what happened to it. See, it's a lot of games out there that gets announced that just goes under the wayside, and we either tend to forget about it, while some people do remember it. I just always wanted to know what happened to that, and now we know. Microsoft played it safe instead of betting on a new IP. The change is in, folks. A new Silent Hill F Xbox advertisement makes it clear that you're only buying a license. Now, it's a new California law out there that forces anyone that is selling something to completely disclose whatever the contents basically is. So at the bottom of the purchasing advert of Silent Hill F, you'll see under the banner it says, buying or purchasing any digital project products is a license. And the person was taken kind of aback with seeing this type of verbiage because they haven't seen advertisements like this before. Well, the new California law that forces digital stores to tell customers that they're getting a license to their content. If the stores want to use the terms like buy and purchase, it has to come with this kind of disclaimer. So you're going to start to see that a lot going forward. And again, sometimes, people like to bag on California, but at the end of the day, they're just trying to be more transparent when it comes to people thinking they actually own something when you're just actually purchasing a license to have the ability to play said game. And that license can be taken from you at any time that the licensor sees fit. If you happen to have Sonic's Cross Worlds, well, they're introducing the Minecraft Festival on Xbox this week. Um, back in the summer, they talked about the crossover between Minecraft and Sonic, and Sega said they were announced the event soon. Well, October 9th, Thursday, and runs through Sunday the 12th, the Minecraft Festival will be coming to Sonic Racing. Sega has teased the event in the trailer that I'm showing right now, and adding that players don't need the game's premium Minecraft DLC pack to hop into the festival and see what's what. So that's cool. You don't need the premium package in order to be part of. You could just happen to have the game and join in. Fans of Xbox famous block-based sandbox game are going to be eating good right now. The game, listen, I'm not a Minecraft fan like that. So, but for those people that are, you got a season pass, you got DLC, you got all this stuff. With Sonic's Cross Worlds, this is a good collaboration. I like to see cross-pollination with IPs to further show interest across different genres. And this is one of the genres that I like the most when it comes to racing. Just get Minecraft into some first-person shooters like Halo, and we have one big round robin, if you ask me. Well, apparently, the rumors about the Switch 2 and Generation 9 ports of updates. Um, I don't know. I'm not a huge Red Dead Redemption fan, but this may go over well with Sovereign and a couple of you guys out there that actually care about this. Me personally, okay, just another day in the sun. This is what I like to hear. Battlefield 6 dev said its destruction tech is so delicious for one simple reason. The only magic trick is that they're not on the PlayStation 4, which was holding back everything in the Xbox One. I am so happy that they gave up on those damn old systems and allow us to move into the now. And this is the main reason why I'm supporting this game. It's just, they kind of raise the floor when what they say in the terms of memory and CPU speed and, helps improve performance overall when it comes to stuff like this. You know, I personally feel that those old consoles shouldn't have been considered after the current gen has started. And it should have only been those consoles, to be real with you. So now the PlayStation 4 is 12 years old. Please let it go out to pasture. Stop trying to monetize the 130 million people that's over there on a weak product. Make the best product that you possibly can for the consoles and for the people that gave you the money. And shout out to EA because, man, oh man, I cannot wait to get this full product because it's something that I think that we all should support because that last gen is just going on way too long. This S tier game gets better and better, and Vampire Survivor is adding online co-op to the Xbox Game Pass hit this autumn. If you love this game like I love this game, this is an S tier game. Starting this autumn with the new patch update 1.14. There's no release date yet, but they're going online. As the video that you see in front of you indicates that the online option is going to pop up and you're going to be able to jump in with your friends or two or whatever. I don't know how it's going to get done, but all I know is if you want more of something great, just add more of something that's great. and Vampire Survivor is great. So just add more Vampire Survivor to Vampire Survivor, and then you got more Vampire Survivor. That's great. Does it make sense? Makes sense to me. Hope it makes sense to you. I hope to see you in these Vampire Survivor streets as we game together. And hopefully it doesn't cause your system to lock up, blow up, and throw itself out the window. See, this is where Microsoft gets their self in trouble with the stupidness that they do. Like you do something, then you reverse it, and it's so ridiculous to me that half the time, whatever. Let's get into it. Microsoft is hitting the brakes on its Xbox Game Pass Ultimate price hike, but only in a few countries. Game Pass Ultimate users in select regions won't have to deal with the cost increase for now. That within itself is a huge problem. You treat everyone as a collective. And if you cannot implement changes in all areas, you don't implement changes at all. But apparently Microsoft doesn't understand this part, and this is the part where they get wrong. And this is the stepping on rakes. This is the stuff that I be talking about that I'm upset with. Microsoft introduced a huge overhaul to Xbox Game Pass that revamped the subscription service with a more widespread access on Windows and PC, cloud gaming, along with renamed tiers and price hikes, both PC Game Pass and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, later, which proved to be extremely controversial. Now, not only did you get the streaming and PC access, you also had the Fortnite, Ubisoft Plus, and various other updates that were minor in the sense of the grand scope of things, but major in the restructuring of what Game Pass actually looks like in its totality. And they felt that that significant or minor upgrade, depending on what level of the spectrum you're on, warranted a $10 increase. Well, apparently now, the increase is not going to hit all countries. In the wake of the gaming community blistering reaction to the changes, Microsoft is delaying its $10 upgrade to Game Pass Ultimate. The price increase in select countries. The firm seems to be hitting the brakes upon it because, European countries specifically and the users in the US and the UK will still have to pay the new higher prices. What? The news comes to an email sent to Game Pass subscribers overnight, informing them those regions where the delay applies, they won't have to pay a steeper cost for Game Pass Ultimate for now. That in itself is problematic. Notably, the delay appears to be indefinite, though it is being stressed that only applies to subscribers where it's already signed up for Game Pass Ultimate before the price hike and maintain an auto-renewing membership. If you cancel your subscription at any time, you have to pay the new prices if you want to sign back up. At this time, these increases will only affect new purchases and will not affect your current subscription for the market in which you reside. As long as you're on auto reoccurring plan, Microsoft explained in the email, you should choose to cancel your plan at any time and repurchase. You will be charged the new current rate. The company promises after this that markets where the increase has been delayed will be notified at the end of the holdup or any other adjustments to Game Pass 60 days in advance. That means that the current delay will last at least 2 months and likely considerably longer in certain other regions. For any reason, there may be changes to the existing account. We will notify you in 60 days. This is the BS that I'm talking about. There's regulations in other countries that keep you from just changing prices on a dime. It kind of makes me envious of other countries where the governments actually protect the consumer. The FTC had the opportunity to put such measures in place, but chose to focus on other things that Lena Khan deemed important. When you know defeat was imminent, you could have protected the consumers that you claim to care about. In this instance, this is big corporation doing big corporation things and being called out by social media because it was blistering, it was crazy. But then walking it back in a sense that gives them some time to get around regulations. Not saying that this thing won't happen, just saying that it's delayed in certain regions for whatever reasons based on the protections of the governments that was set in place. If the price increase hits you earlier than later, that means your government didn't give a damn. And being that the FTC was the prime, you could say, opponent against Microsoft with the ABK deal, citing anti consumer practices and telling that later on practices can actually be extremely harmful to the consumer, but not implementing anything in a preventative nature that can stop said harmful things, knowing that they were going to lose the case. The FTC let us down, let you down, and allows Microsoft and Xbox to continue these wild practices. Now, I laughed based upon the fact that they're going to continue to do what they're going to do because at the end of the day, their only job is to get whatever money you have in your pocket out and placed into their hands. And I laughed because this is not the first time. But I see that there's a larger problem. There's a huge problem going forward. We worry about Microsoft being the lone entity and being able to monopolize and monetize the consumers. But I think there's a bigger entity at play here pulling the strings in a larger capacity that is forcing companies like Xbox and PlayStation to play to the beat of their drum, opposed to moving at how they want to move. But right now, Game Pass Ultimate at Amazon is still $19.99. At Walmart, it's still $19.99. At Best Buy, it's still $19.99. You're able to go and continue to purchase these cards. If at any point in time you are at a loss for where that you can get these cards, hit me up so I can make sure that you are on the right track of these anti-consumer practices at the hands of Microsoft and other companies that choose to do things in a fashion that is not customer friendly. Well, this is the part of the video when I give you my thoughts and opinions on what I see uh, going forward. You know, we kind of talked about all the stuff that went on. We talked about, Black Tusk and what happened with that unknown IP. And good thing they didn't put a name to it because we would be kind of messed up over it like we are over Perfect Dark, where I felt that that vertical slice was representative of the game. And it comes to find out that it didn't have any assets or anything to do with a actual game, which is sucks. So we get sucked into these games that never come out, and some games seem to look like they're about to come out, but they're nothing more than a mock up for a show. And I think there should be some guidelines against that. I don't know. If you don't have nothing to show, why make up stuff? That's my opinion. Anyway, That game goes the way of the dinosaur. But it's good to see that EA and a lot of other companies are embracing this current gen. But it kind of sucks because it comes a little too late. We're at the ass end of this generation, and I don't think this generation ever lived up to its potential. Honestly, personally, I think that this generation is a bust. I mean, with the price hikes and everything that goes along with it, I think that this generation itself is probably no good. Probably our worst generation we had when it came to video games, even outpacing in what my opinion is the crash. The reason why I can say that is because you have the rise of these free to play games that are actually really good that enrolled your engagement, and then live service and all these other stuff. Then you have subscription services that actually change the way that we purchase games and how we see and view games. But I think these all these tactics are done in concert based off of who's actually manipulating and pulling the strings. Now, I got a chance to watch OpenAI and AMD make their commitment to each other on AMD providing OpenAI with GPUs, silicon and chipsets. And I got a chance to think about it. AMD is the ultimate culprit because they actually control the numbers on Xbox, they actually control the numbers on PlayStation. Now, hear me out. They also provide chipsets to a lot of handheld manufacturers like Asus, ROG Ally, and other handheld devices across the board, while also providing chipsets to the PCs and everything. When we got a chance to see some information that leaked out about their demands to Microsoft on 10 million systems on chips that they were requiring Microsoft, supposedly, allegedly, to purchase in order to actually make their own handheld. That kind of forced Microsoft to find different ways in order to get a handheld to the industry. Whereas, Phil always wanted a handheld in the palms of the hands of the Xbox consumer. Apparently, that want will go unheard based off of the demands of AMD, and Microsoft and Xbox had to find a partner in which to make it happen. I think AMD is raising prices on these console manufacturers, i.e., PlayStation, Xbox, and forcing them to just don't subsidize the console because there's no way to subsidize something that you're just getting margin on. I think AMD has decided to cash out the same way I felt that Nvidia was doing the same. Charging these consoles more money because they're reliant on you at the moment. And Microsoft is at us at a rapid roadrunner's pace and trying to free itself from a box that is dictated to by an outside entity, which is AMD. And they're just trying to show the pathway to the PlayStation or how to free themselves from the clutches of AMD. I think AMD is the bad culprit in all of this. Not absolving Microsoft and PlayStation of any wrongdoing. What I'm saying is desperate times calls for desperate measures, and when the plug is charging you more, then you actually have to charge your customers more because you're not making the same amount of money that you normally would have. So if the price of the brick goes up, so does the price of the dummies. And I'm watching this and I'm saying, man, AMD is the one that is forcing everyone to, for the lack of a better word, pony up. This is something to think about because having at least 90% control in the console market and 10% going to Nvidia with the Switch and the Switch 2, I think one company having this much level of control is detrimental. It's detrimental anywhere when one company has that much control, but if you could see the the effects that AMD controlling Xbox and PlayStation is having in a generation where this is by far probably one of our worst generations in terms of value for the consoles. And usually the consoles go down in price that allows Microsoft and PlayStation to purchase more consoles. That doesn't seem to be the case anymore. The driving factor seems to be instead of silicon making data, making digital, making non fungible tokens. Yeah, something that's not tangible, something that has value but is not tangible. Because if it has to be tangible, then AMD has to get cut in. And what you're trying to do is eliminate AMD's interaction with the consumer based off of the fact that they raise the price and therefore, i.e., you have to raise your price towards the consumer and you're looked at as not customer friendly. You do stupid things like the raise the price in Gamepass and then have to look at what regulatory bodies in different countries say before you can actually implement your nefarious strategy. And you have to pull that back. This is sad times, as a gamer, because I can tell you with all honesty, Xbox as a brand has never looked better. And I know you're going to say, wait a second, King, they're about to get out of the hardware business. Let me explain what I'm talking about. From an online structure, I want you to look at Xbox's timeline and tell me when is a better timeline for their online component. Then I want you to look at the user interface and tell me from the initial user interface to the interface that you have now, which is the better interface. And then I want you to tell me through the portfolio of games, from the first Xbox to the portfolio of games of right now, and I'm talking about first party only. And yes, ABK counts as first party because Microsoft owns them. When is a better time that they had a better level of portfolio for video games? And then I'm going to lastly say hardware. Look at the hardware. And I want you to take the Series X and I want you to place that Series X against your 360 or whatever hardware that you felt that can compete. And yeah, the 360 was actually a really good piece of tech, but I think the Series X and X, based on them being unshackled, if you get a game with them unshackled, it's uncontested. So the Xbox brand has never been better, but is viewed as worse. You understand? Social media has eroded whatever good faith that anybody Xbox has built up, and the uncertainty with where the market going, knowing that Microsoft and Xbox will always be trendsetters and pioneers moving forward, taking us to places either we want to go, we don't want to go, and the uncertainty with change actually has a dynamic effect on the psyche when it comes to individuals viewing their traditional hardware. Some people just want the same. They don't want to change. They want things to stay the same always because same is safe. Same is something that you know. I think, honestly, and maybe I could be wrong here. Maybe this is the part where people say that I'm coping. I don't believe in the good in Microsoft because you can't believe in the good in a corporation. I'm not saying that, and I'm not talking about the people there. I'm not saying that. I'm just talking about the Xbox brand itself, right? And as a brand, I think Microsoft does find value in the brand. I just feel that AMD, in some form or fashion, is dictating the price points of how this brand is being able to get hardware to individuals and continue the legacy. And I think it's bad. I think AMD should have some level of somebody to contest them when it comes to this. I think the back patch strategy kind of locks you in, and AMD knows this. But you know what? Another thing I think AMD knows. I think they know that Microsoft is so close to cracking that nut. Pause. In being free from a physical box that they're trying to get as much money as they possibly can now because they know very soon in the future there won't be a need from actual physical hardware because everything will be cloud based. Now, do they live off of cloud based on the silicon that's inside these cloud servers? Is mainly probably AMD? Probably so, using Blackwells and stuff like that in order to get the level of graphics that is necessary and the streaming capabilities to anybody that's going to have these experiences. We're probably at 2030, 2032 when this all takes effect. But at the moment, we seem to be suffering at the hands of growing pains. I'm not absolving Microsoft from anything because, actually, uh, jumping the gun or moving too fast and not looking at what was going on with other countries as far as regulatory bodies go, you kind of look like a fool based on the fact that now individuals in different countries are getting paid different or paying different prices based on how good their country cares about them. And that just highlights a bigger problem in the other countries that don't have that same level of protection. Makes you really look at your politics differently based on how much money that you're paying in taxes. I think that the United States pays a whole boatload of money, and I don't think the level of protection is the same in other countries that don't. But this is Xbox Frontline News. And this is a illuminating episode where I get a chance to deep dive into probably who's the true big bad and how our country is lacking tremendously. Based upon Microsoft fumbling and bumbling its Game Pass message, how do you mess up the golden goose? Well, you give one price to one person, one price to another, and you hope that they don't talk to each other. But in this day and age, everybody has a Android or iPhone in their hand, and they're able to talk to each other instantly to tell them what the plug is doing. And the plug is trying to run it up on these bums. Well, this is Xbox Frontline News with your boy, the King, and I'm glad that you made it to the end. I'm still reeling from this Japanese jet lag. I'm not going to hold you. The time frame got me messed up. But what I can say is do what I always want to do and play how I always want to play. Whereas winners win and gamers game. And let's get ourselves over to that premium and try to play the Game Pass.